Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jonah from Discover, and we are going to be talking to Kimberly Olson today. Kimberly, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Of course, super excited to have you here today. This is our first event back after the new year for Discover, or my first event. I think we had a couple other ones, but super stoked to be diving in this year. We have all sorts of awesome creators, and so excited to have you here, Kimberly. Before we dive in, I just want to do my little spiel, make sure everyone's in the right place, that you're all happy, you can see and hear us. So please hop in the comments, let us know if you can see and hear us all right. Also, feel free to call out where you're tuning in from, how you heard about Discover, how you heard about Kimberly, something you're excited to learn today, something you already learned from Kimberly or Discover. Just use those comments. We love to interact in there and see what you have to say, where you're coming from, who you are. Also, feel free to ask questions at any point through the presentation, but we will have a dedicated Q&A after the presentation. So if we don't answer them right away, we are not ignoring you. We have that time allotted so that we can get to all of those questions. So we'll get to them then, or you can write them down, pop them in when we're in the Q&A. And if any life happens around you, you have to get up, the dog comes in, Kimberly's moving fast. I know she has a lot she's going to give us today. Don't fret. There will be a replay available. It'll be here on YouTube. It'll be on the Discover event page, and it'll be emailed to you along with the course offer. We'll talk about it a little later if you RSVP to the event. It looks like everyone's in here and we're cruising. So like I said, we were talking to Kimberly Olson, and we're going to be talking about money mindset mastery for huge business breakthroughs. And in this workshop, we will break down the exact strategies to achieve business milestones, adopt an abundant mindset, and how to build wealth for yourself and your family. Little background: Kimberly Olson is the creator of the Goal Digger Girl, a multi-dimensional brand that serves female entrepreneurs through small group coaching, focus workshops, and a whole lot of training on how to build successfully on social media. Kimberly, I don't want to take up any more time, so I'm going to hand it off to you. If you could introduce yourself, and let's dive in.
I would love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm so excited to be here. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about is money, because we all need money to do all the things that we want to do in our lives, right? But a lot of times we either don't feel comfortable around it, or we have some money blocks that are holding us back. Maybe we're self-sabotaging, or someone else in the family handles the finances and we have no clue, right? So we're going to talk about money mindset mastery for huge business breakthroughs. But I will tell you, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm very focused on the business side of this, but these principles apply to anything. I was able to start a nonprofit this last year because I understand these principles. So you can use this in your personal life. If you're in a corporate job and you want to get a raise, all of this is going to apply to all the areas of your life, which is really exciting. So just so you know a little bit about me, I am somebody who came from very humble beginnings. My mother raised her on her own. I grew up with, reduced lunch during school times, and everyone knew it, to wearing hand-me-downs that were too small. So people would say, are you ready for a flood? Can anyone relate to that? And I just didn't have any skills when it came to money. I thought money was scarce. I thought that money was bad. And I didn't understand anything around money. Throughout my 20s and 30s, I racked up tons of credit card debt, college debt. I had bought a home that I shouldn't have bought. I had to sell it and lost money on it. All the things. I made all the mistakes with money. And in 2017, I found myself married with 2 babies at home. Addison and Elise are a year and a half apart. So I had a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And I had been let go from my fancy corporate job right before I had my second. And I went into 5 months of unemployment, cashed in our 401k, put everything on credit cards. We had just built our dream home because we were making it, right? Like that's typical American family. And bought the 2 new vehicles, put them in a good school, daycare. And I realized, oh my gosh, we had almost 6 figures of debt we'd racked up. So when I got back into working again, found a job locally. It was about an hour and a half from my home commuting. I found myself saying, there's got to be more here. Like we're living paycheck to paycheck. We can't go on vacations. We can't even put money away for retirement. Like what are we doing here? So I got into social media, online marketing, learning about building businesses in 2017. And it was in, hey, what's up, Liv? It was in 2017 that I got on social media and I started learning about money mindset. And I started learning about building a business of your dreams. But most importantly, I started to get a grip on my finances. And this is what I want you to walk away with. I want you to walk away with how to make more money and what you can do with the money that you have so you don't spend it all, you don't self-sabotage, because we have money mindset beliefs there. We have programming around it. We have set points. And through this work that I've done for myself, and I'm going to teach you right now, in a few short years, less than 4 years, I've been able to launch my company called The Goal Digger Girl, and it's GOAL. I've been able to build up to $4 million in revenue as a company, all through social media. I have 5 books, 3 are bestsellers. I've done a TED Talk. I speak on stage. Our podcast is top 25 in the marketing category, and I've spoken on stage with amazing people. So I share this with you not to impress you, but to impress upon you. I'm someone who came from nothing and didn't have anything and didn't have the skills to somebody who's built a wonderful life for herself and her family, but also her community. And I want to pass that along to you and pay it forward as well. So I would love for you to share in the comments, and I know some of you will be catching this on replay, but I would love for you just to sit with this as we go into this. What's one word to describe your relationship with money? Just put it in the comments for me. When you think about money, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel disappointed? Does it make you feel excited like me? We're all different, obviously, in that area, but I'd love to know that. So put that in the comments for me. Love this quote by Joel Osteen: get your mind going in the right direction, and you'll get your life going in the right direction. I want you to think about that for a minute. Right now, it's the beginning of a new year, right, guys? It's the beginning of a new year. We love this time of year. I'm a goal digger. I set goals for a living. Like, I love this, right? But what I love about this idea and why we love this time of year is because we are hopeful. We have joyful anticipation of our future, right? There are things that you want to change this year, whether it's your health, your fitness, your relationships with your spouse, how you're parenting, the money in your bank account. It's all going to start with your mindset. And I'm going to walk you through that today. Okay. And I love what you guys shared with me as well. We're going to actually tackle all of those. All right. So let's talk about how your money impacts everything. Whether you're looking to get out of debt, save for retirement, or increase your income, your money mindset impacts everything. Now, did you guys know we actually have a set point? Okay, let me explain this to you. Have you guys heard this, the statistics around those that win the lotto? The average person who wins the lotto, say they win $1 million, within 2 to 3 years, they do follow-up studies on them, obviously. Within 2 to 3 years, the average person who's won, $1 million, won the lotto, the average person has less money than before they won the lotto. You can't make that stuff up. That's crazy. Why does that happen, right? Well, probably because they're like, oh, I've got so much money and I'm going to buy this house and this car. And then they didn't have enough money. They ran out, right? But we have a set point. This is why this year that just ended, most of you made about the same that you made the year before. I hope it's more. I hope you're coming here going, yes, like I had a great year and I'm excited to grow it and keep going. But some of you, not so much. You're not alone. We have a set point. We have a psychological, subconscious set point of where we're comfortable with. Okay. And what we want to do, it's our job to identify any blocks we have that are holding us back so we can level up. When you identify the block that's holding you back, you can smash that block, right? You can power through that block. You can crush it. And then you can take things to the next level. So your money mindset is how you view yourself and the value you have to offer and your worthiness alongside your relationship with money. I had a coaching client last year, and I remember her saying to me, she was doing well in her network marketing company. She was a mom of 4. She was able to build it up so she could stay home with them. But for some reason, she couldn't break to that. She wanted to get to 5 figures a month, and she couldn't break through it. So we got on a call. We got to talking. What I discovered is that she felt like too much money was bad. She was raised in a religious environment where that wasn't good. You were supposed to give every dime away that you had, right? That's kind of some of the stuff that's been passed down to us in history, depending on what your beliefs are. And she felt like that would make her a bad person. And when we uncovered what she would do with the money, she lit up, right? She was like, wow, I could do this for my family. And then I could give this away. And then I could show other women how to do that. And then they could quit their jobs. And then she finally got it. It finally clicked. She saw that she was worthy to receive that money. Do you feel worthy to receive money? Put yes or no in the comments for me. It's a vulnerable moment, but I'm going to ask you to do that. Do you feel worthy to receive more money? Because if you think that you are not responsible with money, you're not going to feel worthy about it. And I've been there, guys. Like I used to be just horrible with money. I can't even tell you. Like I would spend money I didn't have all the time. But if you see, I am worthy of money, I am worthy because this is what I'm going to do with it. When you start to see I love the yeses, that's awesome. And if it's no, that's okay too. But if you start to see, I am worthy and you claim that, I want you to say to yourself, okay, this year, my income goal is this. Okay. So let's say you made $50,000 last year and you want to double that and get to 100,000 this year. What are you going to do with that the extra $50,000? That's what I want to know. What are you going to do with that extra $50,000? Probably pay off some debt, probably start putting a college fund together for maybe one of your children. Maybe you've got an elderly parent, you need to move into a nursing home. What are you going to do with that extra money? Now you're going to start to see it's for good. And then your subconscious mind starts to buy into that. Like, oh, okay. Like you are worthy to receive that money. These are the conversations we need to have with ourselves to kind of see where are we coming from and what's holding us back. Money is energy, and you determine if it is a positive or negative force in your life. It is up to you to adopt a powerful CEO mindset. And that CEO, you can be a CEO of your household, the domestic goddess, right? You can be running your household. You could be running a company. You could be running a department. You're running yourself, right? We're a CEO of our own selves. But the money is energy. It's not good or bad. We are the ones that label it. There's a really good book that I love. It's called Get Rich Lucky Bee. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but if you just type in Get Rich Lucky Bee, you'll see it. Her nickname is Denise DT. This book talks all about the programming that we all have from society around money. If you watch movies, the woman, especially around females as well, but I know we have men and women in the audience, but there's this whole narrative around women having money, that they're like the evil witch, right? Or if there's a family that's very wealthy, they're not good people. Watch the movies, look and see songs out there. When we see the way that celebrities are shown in Hollywood and what we see, check that book out to get a better more information on that. But money is energy. So we determine if it's positive or negative in our lives. So I'm going to ask you to see what that is right now, whether it's, adhering to a budget, or maybe you need to give more, like you want to tithe 10%. Let's say that's a goal of yours. Are you doing that? Whatever those things are that are making you feel icky around your money and how you're using it, I want you to make peace with that. So it could be, no, I'm going to love having a budget so I can see what money's coming in, what money's coming out. Are there any gaps? What's the plan here, right? Or I'm just going to set up my bank account to automatically donate that 10% so I don't even see it, but I'm able to do it. Okay. But it is energy, and you are the one that labels it good or bad. Common rooted beliefs about money, and I'll read these if you can't see it. Number one, I never have enough money. If any of these resonate with you, drop the number in the comments below. Number one, does this relate with you? Put one down below if it does. I never have enough money. This is a rooted belief. So a rooted belief means it's typically brought from childhood. It's a belief that we developed in childhood that went through teenage years into early adulthood and then adulthood. So these rooted beliefs are typically something we carry with us to today. So I never have enough money. If any of you heard money doesn't grow on trees, did anyone grow up with that? I grew up in the 80s and 90s. It's like the common thing, right? I never have enough money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Super common. Number two is I can't afford it. That's another one. That's kind of that money doesn't grow on trees. How many times have you said to your spouse or your kids, oh, we can't afford that? They're like, mom, can we go get this cool thing? No, we can't afford that. No. Your kids are picking up on those beliefs, guys. This is how powerful words are. And this is how powerful our money story is shaped based on these beliefs and these things that we keep saying. So really be mindful of how you're talking about money, whether it's in your head or to a person. Can't afford it. Number 3, I'm not enough. And this goes with that worthiness. You're like, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm not enough. I wouldn't take good care of that money, or I shouldn't have that money. Number 4 is I feel like a fraud. So this is also called imposter syndrome, where you want more money, and the way that you would get that money, you're like, I'm an imposter. Like if I wanted to get to $100,000 this year, that means I would have to launch a coaching business, or that means I'd have to ask for a raise at work. I feel like a fraud. Like, who am I to go ask for a raise at work? Or who am I to go for that promotion? I couldn't possibly go for that promotion. Or maybe you're home and you're like, you want to start a job or go back to work. And you're like, I've been home with kids for 10 years. I don't have any skills. You feel like a fraud. Number 5 is this is too hard. So even this conversation, right? You're like, oh, this is too hard. She's talking about money. I've had people who told me, oh, yeah, nothing with money or numbers. I don't. And I'm like, no, we can all learn how to basic things around money. And we actually need to. You never want to be in a position where you're in the dark with your finances. So this is too hard is where it's like a learning thing sometimes, where you feel like you're not good with money or numbers. Number 6 is nobody's going to pay that. So if you are charging for services and a rooted belief you have is to like, you need to increase your rates or charge more, or you want to raise, the rooted belief you have is nobody's going to pay that. Nobody's going to pay me that. Goes back to worthiness, right? But that belief you have is nobody's going to pay that. Nobody would pay me that money. Who would spend that money to work with me? And number 7, it's impossible. So when you think about making more money, and you think about changing your story, and you think about changing your family tree, the thing that can get it in front of you as a roadblock is this belief that it's not in the cards for you. Some of you have that belief. Well, gosh, I'm already 40, I'm already 50, I'm already 60. It's not in the cards for me. That's not true. None of these are true. And it's up to you to identify them and challenge them and say, well, I just read this blog post about this woman who went back to college when she was 70 and got her degree. Oh, okay. Well, maybe since the 70-year-old woman went and did it, I could do it. Look around you. There's so much social proof out there that it is possible for you. Common habits for those who need to conquer their money mindset are destructive habits, such as procrastination. Drop this below if this is you. This is the trust tree, so no judgment. Procrastination is definitely a destructive habit. Overanalyzing. So you're always thinking about things before actually doing anything. And giving money its power. Self-sabotage is repeated. So a common habit for those of you that really need to conquer money mindset is you have some destructive habits that are holding you back. Procrastination, overanalyzing, and giving money power. Meaning when you give money its power, you feel out of control with it. You're like, like the creditors, or I've got all these bills, or medical bills is another big one. I've gone through lots of paying off medical bills and putting them on payment plans forever, right? That is giving money its power. You need to get in the driver's seat. You need to say, no, I can do this. Not only can I get in control of my finances, but I can fall in love with them. And I can realize that it's here to make my life better. Money's just a tool to do good with, right? And so when you recognize these habits, you can start to see their self-sabotage sometimes. So for me, when I first, the first full year as an entrepreneur, I did $250,000, and I was pretty much a solopreneur. I had one part-time VA, $250,000. And at the end of the year, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. Because, it is a lot of money for the average person. I didn't have any money left at the end of the year. I'd spent it all. And I had no idea how I'd spent it. That's self-sabotage. I sabotaged myself. I didn't feel comfortable with that much money. Oh my gosh, what would I do with that money? I don't deserve that money. And I spent it all. Self-sabotage. So you really want to see, what are those destructive habits I have? Yeah, procrastination is very, very common, you guys. And the reason why we procrastinate is because there's something about that thing that we need to do that in our minds, we've made up a story about that thing. And it's taking the action, the inspired action, the imperfect action, failing forward, even though we don't know what that's going to look like, trusting the process. It's the act of faith, taking the step in faith, looking the fear in the eye, acknowledging it, and still taking that step forward. Conquering your money mindset. So getting a grip on your money mindset begins with awareness. So begin to consider the question, what is money teaching me about myself? What is money teaching me about myself? So what's so wonderful about money and why I love it so much is because I love it because it tells me so much about a person. It tells me how they see themselves. It tells me where their heart's at. It tells me a lot about the history and the stories and the stuff that they've been carrying around. It also tells me a lot about abundance. So, whenever you're making decisions, one of the things that's always a good just pulse to put on yourself to see where you're at with your question of should I do this thing when you're in decision making is it coming from lack or is it coming from abundance? I love this question. Whenever I'm making a hard decision, I'm like, okay, is this fear based? Like, am I coming from lack or for example, let's say you wanted to move to a new neighborhood and you had the finances to do it, but you and your husband are discussing, you're like, but what if you lose your job? That's coming from lack. That's coming from fear. And that is a teacher, it's a tool, it's telling you where your mindset's at. But if you are coming from abundance, you know that there's good and prosperity and wonderful things coming in your future that you're creating. So I even like to journal things. That's just how I am. So I will take out my journal and I will ask myself, what is money teaching about myself? And a really great practice you can do is write money a love letter. And I heard this from a book. It's called Money, a Love Story. It's a good book to read if you like. I have all the book resources for you guys at the end in this course that I have. But with this book, Money, a Love Story, she has you write a letter to yourself about money. And in the letter, you say, Dear Money, and then you talk about your relationship with money. I forgive you. I was angry about this. I'm sad about this. And it might seem kind of weird, but like I said, money is energy. You have a relationship with money. So just like you might write a love letter to someone you were dating back in the day, you can write a letter to money and it can be very healing. You might cry. Because I got to tell you, when I think about the most stressful time in my entire life was when I was unemployed for 5 months with 2 new babies, new house, big mortgage. I was the breadwinner who'd lost her job and I didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. I was up every night, not because I had a brand new baby at home, because I couldn't sleep because of the anxiety and the stress. At that time in my life, I had a horrible relationship with money. So did that impact my life? Absolutely. Okay. It caused, like I said, anxiety, but it caused depression, stress. The relationship you have with money is very important. Okay. I can't stress that enough, as you can tell. All right. So here are 5 steps to money mastery. Number 1, take a screenshot of this or write it down if you're taking notes. Number 1 is reframe any limiting beliefs. So what does that mean? Reframing any limiting beliefs. So get out a journal, and what you can do is write down your beliefs around money. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's never enough money. I'm not good at making money. I'm not good at a job. Who's going to hire me? Or I can't get a raise. Or if you're an entrepreneur, no one's buying my stuff. Whatever it is, that's a limiting beliefs that's holding you back. Write that down, and you're going to reframe it. So reframing is where you rewrite it in present tense affirmation style. So here's an example. Limiting belief. I never have enough money. That's obviously a very strong limiting belief. Reframing it would be money is endless. There's always more money to make. So when you reframe it or rewrite it, it's positive present tense. Okay. So I don't have enough money to saying something like money is endless. There's always enough money. Okay. All right. Number 2 is redirect thoughts or statements. So we want to redirect those thoughts. So as soon as, and by the way, it's not enough to write your love story or your love story, your money story, your love letter. It's not enough to do that. It's not enough to even, identify the limiting beliefs. It's huge and it will point you in the right direction. It's going to be very liberating. But you know what's actually going to make the biggest difference for you is to redirect thoughts or statements, like a statement you make about money or yourself. It's in the moment. Okay. This is why I love miracle mornings and all of those practices that people teach. But for me, why I have such a strong mindset now that I've developed over the years is as soon as a thought comes in my head that's not serving me, I've trained myself to redirect it immediately. So if a thought is, oh my gosh, how are we going to have enough money for example, one of the things I want to do is pay off. We have 2 homes. This year, I want to pay this house off completely. And then I want to remodel it. Like these are the personal money goals that I have. And as soon as the thought is like, oh my gosh, how are you going to pay off the house? Like nobody does that. I redirect it. I'm like, no, girl, you're going to totally do it. It's going to be awesome. That's how I talk to myself. I don't know about you, but that's what I do. We want to redirect our thoughts immediately. It's not so much what's out there. It's what's in here. It's what you're saying to yourself. Okay. Number 3 is you're going to identify your money blocks. So when you notice that, and you're going to develop them. Okay. These are going to come for you. It might not be right this second, but I want you to identify those money blocks. When you notice that you're not feeling good enough, or you have enough value or worthy, or can you figure out a budget, or can you, responsibly manage money? I want you to identify your money blocks and I want you to smash them. And I want you to look them in the eye and say, I see you, you're a money block, and I'm going to smash through this. Okay. Step aside, because I have my eyes forward on my goals. I have my eyes forward on making more money, and I'm going to get aligned with abundance and prosperity and good things. Okay. So number 3 is identify your money blocks. Number 4 is get your social aligned. Get your social aligned. So with your social, what I'm talking about is if you are an entrepreneur, and by the way, this can also be offline, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that, and I'll use social media as an example, but this can be out in the real world, any area of your life. When we're talking about social media, being an entrepreneur, how are you showing up on social media? So if some of you on here, you do stuff on social media like I do, does your profile look great? Meaning, is it clear what you do and how you can help people? Is your content positive, inspiring, educating? Like people come to it and they're like, yes, love her stuff, want to learn more. Take it offline. How are you showing up? What kind of people are you hanging out with? What movies are you watching? Or binging on Netflix, right? How are you talking about people? Who are you surrounding yourself with? What do you do in your free time? Okay. What are the things that you're doing to reflect an abundance in your life? My favorite example is I don't know about you guys, but when we were getting out of debt, so we paid off all that, the 6 figures of debt. When I would look at 2 cans of beans and it was like 69 cents for the normal generic stuff. And then it was like $1.29 for the organic. And I have PhDs in natural health and holistic nutrition. So I have this like major passion for like clean living and all that. Right. But when we were on a budget, like we didn't have any money. So it was like buy the crappy can of beans. Right. Well, what I've learned is just that little bit to say, no, I can afford, I not even can afford, I'm going to get the organic beans. Okay. I'm going to get the organic beans. Now, why is that important? It's symbolic. It's like that mark in the sand to say, no, I am someone who can easily afford organic beans. And it might seem silly. Now, was I going on big vacations with my family at the time? No. Were we eating out at restaurants? No. But I would do these little things that would get me aligned with feeling abundant, that subconsciously made me feel like I'm somebody who could go buy organic beans and not even look twice at it. You can do the same thing in your life every day. And number 5 is claim what you deserve. It is our birthright to be wealthy, you guys. People who are telling you that that's not, otherwise, and of course, this is, educational purposes only. This is my professional opinion. But claiming what you deserve, we deserve to be wealthy. Prosperity and abundance is our birthright. This is why I am someone who is scaling my company to 8 figures. With our nonprofit, we're going to start off raising $100,000 to support women in our communities and their families, and eventually grow that to, $1 million nonprofit. I have someone right now in our community who unexpectedly spouse is not in the picture anymore. She didn't know that was coming. And we were able to step in and help that woman. Does it make sense for someone like me to have money in my hands and more money come into my hands? Yes, because then I can turn around and do good with it. Claim what you deserve. And if you've got to clean up your money game, like you're just like, oh, keep throwing stuff on credit cards, just maybe cut up those credit cards. I love the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. That's what we followed, and it's magic. Okay, if you actually follow it. The two biggest skills you can develop when it comes to mastering money mindset are positively changing your relationship with money and learning how to create more of it. When I made that $250,000, the reason why I spent it all is because I hadn't worked on the first one of positively changing my relationship with money, right? So because I hadn't taken the time to change my relationship with money, I spent it all. And this is why people will say there's not enough month at the end of the money. Even if you make pretty good money, you and your spouse or just you, and you're like, where's the money? It's because you haven't worked on this part of it. And then also you want to learn how to make more money. And with this platform such as Teachable has allowed me, I've been a course creator for I think 4 years now. And Teachable has allowed me to put something into the marketplace, paying attention to gaps and things I noticed and say, this can really help people. Through Teachable, I don't even know the actual number, but I want to say we probably have, oh my gosh, it's hard to say. I would say a few dozen courses on Teachable. Perfect example. So what does that do for you? If you work full-time as a teacher, could you create something on the side? Absolutely. And a lot of you on here are part of the Teachable community. But you need to learn how to market it, right? You need to learn how to promote it on social media if you're going to do stuff on social, build up your email list, offer value leading to your courses and that kind of thing. Learn how to create more money, okay? Learn how to create more of it, because I'm telling you what, when you have that, you can do whatever you want, okay? Those that tap into true wealth creation mentor under those that are financially successful and have created a lifestyle similar to what they desire. Whoever you're learning from, I recommend everybody has a coach of some sort. And that's why I'm so passionate about coaching, because it changed my life to have a coach. Get a coach, get a mentor, enroll in a program, enroll in a Teachable course, get with those. And you look at their life and you're like, her or him or them. I want to be like them. Yes, they have the life that I want, or they are showing up the way that I want to show up as a human. Find people you can model under. Because if you look at all the greats, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, all of them, they mentored under other giants. So we've got clues. Success leaves clues. Find those clues. Find the people who have those clues, and then you can fast track your results. All right, here are your action steps. I want you to journal out your current, journal out your current relationship with money. So kind of writing that story, that's love story, that love letter to money. What is your current relationship with money? Next action step is I want you to evaluate your current money situation. Evaluate your current money situation. So this is where we have an honest look at what's coming in and what's going out. And it can be pretty eye-opening, because you probably have more coming in than you realized, and you have more going out than you realized. So it's a great opportunity to say, oh, I didn't even realize I was still paying for that subscription. Or maybe I could call them and see if they have any promotions right now. Or, oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you have multiple streams of income, I'm a huge advocate of multiple streams of income. So maybe you can see like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was generating that from that. Let me lean into that and grow that. And another action step is to generate a list of 10 goals you're claiming for yourself. 10 goals you're claiming for yourself. So goals are not New Year's resolutions. Goals are that you are claiming it. It is yours. It is happening. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you know what. So I want you to write down 10 goals. It can be personal, professional, whatever you want. Think about things you want to have. Think about things you want to be, and think about things that you want to do, and generate a list of 10 goals you're claiming for yourself, and review those goals. Look at those goals. When you see them, imagine that they've already come to fruition. Just like feel it, oh my gosh, it feels so great to be able to be at this other job, or quit my job and work from home and just be a full-time course creator. When I knew like I wanted to leave the corporate space and become a full-time entrepreneur. I would just imagine what my day would be like. And I would be, in front of the camera teaching, or I would be writing because I love writing books, or I would be creating courses. I imagined that over and over and over again until one day I walked in and I put in my notice. And you can have that too. But until you claim it for yourself and get really clear on it, it's just going to be a New Year's resolution. And we don't want that. We want to make sure that you're setting these goals for yourself, realistically having a plan and accomplishing them. One of the hardest things about making changes is making them last. On top of that, learning the exact steps to take and how to implement them can be even more difficult without guidance and a plan. Now, listen up. What if I could teach you how I've mastered my mindset and made millions online? Okay, I'm not making any income claims. I'm just sharing with you, really what I'm going to share with you is what I implemented to make my first six figures in 90 days. So some of you, the thought of making millions of dollars is like pie in the sky. You're like, yeah, I wish. But wherever you're at, my first six figures that I made in 90 days was utilizing exactly what I'm going to teach you in this workshop. So I'd like to introduce to you the Money Mindset and Marketing Workshop. Some of you may have saw some promotion around this. You can see the link below this video in the description. Have a clear plan of practical tools you can use to change your money story. So would it be helpful to you to have a plan of like tools you could implement, right? Getting a step-by-step roadmap of how to overcome a negative mindset so you can show up powerfully. Reprogram limiting beliefs and replace them with new ones. So we'll actually go through the different ones, how to replace them. Take out the guesswork of how to transform your money mindset so you can make more money than ever before. So you're going to change your money from the inside out. You're going to learn how to actually apply and implement the strategies that are working today. And you're going to utilize the power of social media and learn marketing strategies to level up. So I'm assuming a lot of you are online. Some of you are more brick and mortar. This applies to anything. Okay. Marketing, mindset, they go hand in hand. So whether you want to market yourself in a job interview, you want to market yourself when you walk into your boss's office asking for a raise, or you want to market yourself on Instagram, those principles apply to all areas, all niches, and all industries. This is one of our students, Marion, out of 5,000 top leaders. She's in a direct sales company. She ranked number 5 out of the top 10 in the company after being with the company for only 2 years. This is the first time I've ranked in the top 10. I had a record-breaking month. I received a huge promotion, and it's all due to my mindset change. So notice how she doesn't talk about some secret skill that she learned. She says it's due to her mindset change. And this is how powerful changing your mindset can be. The investment for this workshop is normally $197, but for a limited time, it's going to be offered to y'all for $97. And you can get that link below in the description of this video, as I said. So thank you so much. I'm going to pop my earbuds back in for listening. I would love for you to take a screenshot of yourself watching this presentation. Feel free, take a screenshot of this right now. I'll wave. Throw it in your stories. If you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, wherever you are, where you can upload a story and tag me at the Goal Digger Girl, and I will give you a shout out. And if you want to find me on social media, we use the tag, the username, the Goal Digger Girl, GOAL. Anywhere, everywhere on social, you can find us. We're on pretty much every platform. So if you like to digest content around social media, marketing, sales, business, entrepreneurship, time management, productivity, that's what we like to cover. So I'll have Jonah come back when he's there. There he is.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Hey,
Kimberly, thank you so much. The
you're
last
welcome.
couple years for me, and a lot of people I know have been a lot about this mindset. And just, I didn't grow up with a family with a lot of money either. So, and I wanted to call out just real quick, Allison here, just like not realizing how much those little comments or the way your parents handle money, and not to blame only our parents, it's our whole upbringing, right?
Right.
But it's a lot to get over that and feel like you deserve to make money, or like there is a wealth of money and not a disparity out there. So just appreciate what you do. It's so valuable.
Thank you.
And it's changed my life to think differently like that. So I don't think it's a small thing. It makes a
Mm-mm.
huge difference, regardless of what your goals are. So appreciate you very much. And
Oh,
for
yeah.
everyone
Thank you.
watching, yeah, please hop in the comments. We have time to ask Kimberly some questions. So if you have any questions, drop in there. Let us know. We got at least another 10 minutes, so would love to use that time to answer any questions you have. And also just wanted everyone to know the link for that course, it's in the comments, it's pinned at the top, it's also in the description, and it'll be emailed to you along with the replay. And that discount is only for a week, so take advantage
Okay.
of it when it's there. And just want to call it, this comment section has been so awesome as people have been interacting throughout the presentation. Luna also said, my biggest money block is fear of using my savings to make money moves. I would love to use this as starting off the
Yeah.
Q&A until we get some more questions here, because I relate to this so much, especially if you're at that point where you kind of handled your savings a little bit, you got your debt in way, which is a whole mindset in general, to realize you can save and pay debt at the same time.
Yep.
But now say you have a business and you want to make some investments and you're at that scary point. Do you have any advice for sorting out how to make those investments? What's too much? What's the right time? Obviously, it's so dependent on the specific
Yeah.
situation. But as far as a mindset, how do you
Totally.
put yourself when you're in that position and ready to start making those moves?
Yeah. So I think it's great that you're like cautiously deciding it because I don't ever, and Dave Ramsey talks about this too. I don't think it's wise to take your savings and go start a business. I've seen people do that and I've seen them lose everything. What he recommended, and this is how I built, is to micro test your idea. Prove to yourself that you can make money. So if you release a Teachable course, for example, you get one sale, then that means you can get 10 sales, unless it was like your aunt or something. But you get the one sale, you can grow that to 10. You make $1,000, you can grow your income to 10,000 a month and so on. So you need to micro test it and make sure it's a sound decision. And then there's two reasons you're hesitant. One is, this is probably both sides of it, but are you a good bet? Because it's a bet. It's a bet you're taking on taking that money out. Have the conversation with yourself, look in the mirror and say, I'm the best bet I can make, right? Like you got to pump
Hmm.
yourself up. And then what I like to teach people is if you look at how much we spend on college just for 1 year right now, and let's say you want to take $10,000 out of your savings to expand your business, and you've tested it, you've micro tested it, you've proven that it's sound. That's a $10,000 investment in yourself and your business. Well, you don't flinch at spending 40 grand for one of your children for a year and you're wondering
Right.
about 10,000 on yourself. Like, come on. So I love looking at that to say, no, you're worth it. And it's odd, but this money stuff typically comes back to a self-worth question.
Yeah, that's so hard. Well, and if it's your own business too, it's so easy to tie your business in just with who you are, right?
Yes.
And all of that. Yeah. I appreciate that perspective so much. Love this question that came in from Megan here. Spending money makes me feel abundant, but it can also be self-sabotage. How do you tell the difference between, treating yourself and retail therapy?
That was all of my 20s, Megan, was retail
Yep.
therapy. Like something would happen and I'm like, I'm going to go to the mall. This is when the mall was like a real thing. That was me. So you will know how you feel about it. There's this like guilty feeling, and I have an addictive personality. I know the feeling of that kind of impulsive. If it feels impulsive and it feels like you get a little bit of a high from it, and it feels like, and then afterwards, how do you feel? If you feel guilty afterwards, it's most likely that retail therapy, you called it, Jonah. If you're aligned with abundance, you'll actually feel really good about the purchase. So, and if you
Hmm.
aren't, you might still be moving up the ladder of your set point. So, perfect example. I'm one of those people that would just go to Target to buy clothes, right?
Mhm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to an actual boutique. I'm going to go to a boutique. I have an event I'm speaking at. I'm going to buy a nice dress. It felt uncomfortable to me because I'm thinking I can go to Target and buy 5 dresses for this amount. The business person in me was like,
Right.
what? But then what I started telling myself is, no, you've earned this. Get aligned with wealth. This is getting in alignment with wealth. Feel good about this purchase. So as you go through it, you might have to kind of talk to yourself about it. If you have the money for it, then it's probably you just moving up the line there to get aligned with abundance. But if you feel guilty afterwards and you're like, oh my gosh, now I can't pay my groceries, then it was probably an impulse, retail therapy purchase.
Yeah. Well, and that leads to a question I wanted to ask, which is like, there's the age old kind of concept that money isn't happiness, but it obviously provides a lot of the things that can make us happy. But is there an aspect of kind of this abundance where you're also what is your personal relationship to money, as far as like, is money super important to you? Has it become less of an important thing and more just something you accumulate? But like the money itself, not necessarily what it buys. I would love to know a little bit more about your personal relationship with the thing itself.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely changed over the years. And I think everyone goes through this. So at first it's just like you, because you don't have a family yet. So it's your immediate needs. It's kind of more selfish, right? And that's where I think some of that frivolous spending happens, but it's more, "Oh, I need money for me. Like I want to go buy that thing." Then you have a family and it's like, whoa, like we have a mortgage, we have like humans that we're responsible for. And so then it starts to be about providing for your family. And for me, I identify with that. Like I like it that I can contribute to my family's finances, and I like that drives me. But then what happens is that my family's taken care of, and then it expanded to bringing on people to work in my company.
Hmm.
So now my driver is, how can I make sure they're blessed and they're taken care of, and we can continue to expand. And now it's almost altruistic, where to me it's being the example for women, to be the voice to talk about money and wealth and why we should feel comfortable with it. Because it wasn't too long ago that we weren't, and we couldn't have this conversation. So now for me, it's very much about like, it's very important still. I think it's even more important, but not for what
Mm,
it was before. Before would have been like, "Ooh,
mm.
can I go buy that nice SUV?" And now it's like, "Ooh, how many women can I bless this year?" So yeah,
Ah,
I think
that's
it's
so
more
cool.
important. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's more important. Mhm.
That's so cool though that the web has expanded beyond just your needs to
Yes.
like the economy you have
Yes.
created. That's awesome. And
Oh,
so
thanks.
I'm sure you work with a lot of like entrepreneurs and people who take your course. But do you also find you have a fair amount of people that aren't necessarily like starting a business or already are making good money, but just trying to have a better relationship? I love that you're not just focused on the business aspect, it's the relationship with growing
Yeah.
wealth and everything. So do you have that experience as well?
Yeah, we do. And our coaches, I have coaches that work within the company, and they'll always say, "Wow, like you'd be surprised at somebody who is, appears to be doing really well," because that's what social media is. You post that
Mhm.
beautiful picture of you and your kids in front of your house or whatever, right? And so people see that and they go, "Oh, wow, she's doing really well." Well, you don't know that she's living paycheck to paycheck and putting everything on
Right,
credit cards.
right.
So we're commonly surprised at the lack of education that's still not there for women to understand. And I really believe there's only so much black and white around this. I think so much of it is the energy and how you think about it, what you feel you deserve, and then learning the skills to create it. So
Yeah.
it's all over the board.
Well, and I asked too because I've had people in my life who make a lot of money and have great jobs, but don't spend any or have a really toxic relationship with the money, or someone who gives their husband control over all the money even though she's bringing in all the money and doesn't buy
Yeah.
herself anything. So I think it's so valuable beyond just like the entrepreneurship. That's
Oh,
part of
yeah.
why I
It's
asked. Yeah.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Money
just
loves speed. It loves speed. It does not wanna sit there. And I found myself hoarding cash because, like, I've never had this much money in my whole life, and I'm like,
right.
my financial people are like, "Yeah, no, like, you need to invest that or
It's
do something with it." Right? Like, come
yeah.
on. And so money loves speed. If you use it and do something, not just blowing the money, investing, maybe it's getting a Airbnb or something, but, like, invest in yourself. Like the one woman wanted to take the money out of her savings. Money loves speed. And then when you use it, it's like, then you get more of it. It really is like a universal law.
Mhm. And so it just around, we have to wrap up in a second here, but as far as your course goes, would you mind just diving a little deeper? Like, the experience for someone who enters in the course? Is there a big community? What's the process like? I imagine it's very self-directed, or can you give us a little more of like a
Yeah,
day in
it is
the life of taking your
self-direct.
course?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you're listening today and you're like, "Okay, I wanna take that next step with her," it's the next step. It's not like I'm gonna come in and make you, like, gut your finances or go quit your job or no, no, no. It's the next step, okay? And I really feel like that's the best thing for most people because if you go from here to here, it's too big of a jump because we've got psychological, subconscious changes that need to happen. So, it's going to allow you to take the next step in your money journey as far as your relationship with money. Half of the course is all about money mindset and going deeper into that. I do give you a lot of tools. I'm a big fan of like here's a tool for your toolkit. The other half is the marketing side, and that's my like zone of genius. So how can you learn how to make more money? And so it's really going to allow you to understand money better, get the relationship there, and then learn how to make more money.
Yeah, that's awesome. And last question here before we wrap up. And everyone who's watching, again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank
Please
you.
hop in the comments. Thank Kimberly for her time and expertise. And let us know if you learned something exciting. It seemed like a lot of people were just growing through this the last 40 minutes alone. Um, but I like to wrap up a little bit with try and get a poignant question for like today, if and you can speak to just women, to men, we all have our own challenges that are so complex with all the things of our whole lives. But like, if there's one thing that someone can do leaving today to set themselves on that track, and maybe or something they can do when they wake up tomorrow, what's the one thing you would give people to bring into their lives immediately to help start this path to a healthier relationship with money?
I would say the number one thing would be to focus on loving yourself and telling
Mm,
yourself you are worthy and you are good enough because those are the two core rooted beliefs and we get into this actually in the course. Those are the things because if you don't believe that you're not going to get it. We have to be the first ones to be like I'm worthy, I'm valuable, I have value to offer. And then if you're running a business, whoever offers the most value, this is valuable, right? He's put this together to offer value. Whoever puts the most value out into the marketplace this year will make the most money. So just focus on putting out a lot of value and giving abundantly. Don't worry about the sales. Focus on serving and you can't go wrong.
I love that. I also just love that's the day and age we're in,
Yeah,
business and it's so cool.
it is cool.
Once again, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody, for watching. If you had a good time, if you learned something, if you're going to take the course, please hop in the comments, let us know, and like and subscribe to the Discover channel. We're trying to bring more creators, entrepreneurs, great thinkers like Kimberly here to just share and help us all grow and be better people, make more money, and have better lives. It's been an absolute blast talking to you, Kimberly. And let us know before we sign off, where can people find you once more?
Yeah, for sure. My website's called thegolddiggergirl.com. And then I'm on social anywhere at the Gold Digger Girl. I have a Facebook group. You'll see it in the course if you enroll, but the Facebook group's called Gold Digging Boss Babes. There's like 28,000 women in there.
Love
So
it.
if you're like, ooh, I want to just go be a nerd and watch some more trainings, you guys can join that community.
Awesome. That's so great. We'll see you all in those communities. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you all for being here.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
Kimberly.
you.